Good afternoon and welcome back to Courageous Chroniclers Games with Dad Plays City Skylines. And I have to tell you guys, I made a boo-boo. So my plan was to do a time-lapse video for this entire episode where I would make a few changes and then do a time-lapse and then kind of talk through it and then show some cinematics. And then I went to build my highway exit and went, oops, I made a boo-boo. So, I'm gonna let you guys watch the time lapse up to this point right now, and then I'll talk to you a little bit more about my mistake. So, enjoy the time lapse. We'll be right back. Okay, so now you're back here. So let's talk about where I might have messed up. So you can probably already see what's going on. I decided to start building an exchange, excuse me, a service exchange here. Um, so for those of you that aren't aware, there's a difference between a service exchange and a system interchange, service interchange, system interchange. So a system interchange is something like this, right? So it allows two systems. We have our quote unquote east to west system and our north south system here. So it allows us these to change without having to come to a complete stop. Okay, so a service interchange is one that allows you to get off of this to get into other roads. Okay, so two main differences there. So originally here, if you remember correctly, we had a service interchange. We had a T-bone intersection coming off and throwing you onto two highways that brought you down into the roundabout. Well, that's not really how it would work in a real city, and I wanted to try to strive for some semblance of realism. So I decided that instead of that, I was going to build another parklo like I have here because I'm really in love with these darn things. I think they are super efficient and they don't take up too much space. So I was going to do the same thing over here, but okay. So somebody, me, didn't plan it correctly, so I don't have the room to do it exactly the way I want to do it. So I'm going to be changing this up a little bit more. I'm going to have to. There's multiple ways I could handle it, right? I could move all of this somewhere else, but I really like this. I like it being right next to the highway exit. Now, what I have thought about, and I still might do, is that I could just take this and move it over and have this road become this road. Not a hard solution. Wouldn't be a bad idea because this is not a super high traffic area. The most traffic that we're going to have is going to come from the recycling center and from the dumpster here. So that may not be a bad idea. I might still actually do that. The other option is to move the highway back to here a little bit. Now, if I don't know if you remember, but I don't want to get rid of this because actually coming in this episode, this is going to return back to being a lake. So I don't want to get rid of it. All right. So I could just move it back because, in all honesty, this extra here is not going to be here when I actually am done. It's just there as a placeholder to allow for things to connect. Although it might because the parklo, it may end up being a parklo. Eh. Anyways, we'll see. So I could do that. I could also slide it over to the right just a little bit. So we have a couple different options, but uh, I'm going to work on that. So a couple other things that you probably saw me do in the time lapse. I just fixed some streets, made some of the terrain a little bit nicer here instead of having this dip down, which I just didn't think would be a very realistic thing. I fixed that, and then I also just curved this a little bit to make it a little bit more uh, aesthetically pleasing. Switch this over to a 2-3 asymmetrical road uh, because I figured that would be better for traffic, although I'm not really sure because lane mathematics says that that's still a horrible idea because now we're going from 3 lanes down to 1, so nobody's ever going to use this lane or this lane. So in all honesty, I will probably switch this over to a 2-to-1, but I don't know how bad that's going to jam up traffic there. So undecided. Okay. What else did I do? I added some more housing in over here, and you'll see that I've got a little bit different pattern going on. I will be plopping a single high density residential building into each of these squares once I have that unlocked, because I kind of, as I mentioned a few times, I want that to be more of a downtowny kind of feel to it. So I am going to figure out what to do over here. Uh, I think that it would probably be best to straighten out this highway anyways and redo all this. We have $250,000, so we've got plenty of money to do it. So I think that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so we're going to get rid of all of our excess stuff here. Alright. As I told you guys, you know, the intersection thing, I don't know if you remember, but the intersection thing is something new that I'm trying to get better at doing, because we only get better at doing things by forcing ourselves to do them more often. So, let's see. We'll throw on our highways, and we'll grab these, throw on our parallel road tool, because it makes things look pretty. Alright, now I just happen to know that the distance between my highways is 32, so I can set that there. Let's get this up here, get out of the way. Alright, so we're going to want this to come through here. But before we actually do this, we want to... I'm going to take advantage of this little issue and do this to straighten out the highway. Alright. Now we'll turn that on. Let's see. So if we go here, that puts us awful close to it. So close. I guess we could move this out just a little. You know, I think that's what we'll do. We'll move that out just a little bit. Alright. I know the parallel road tool looks silly right now because it's, you know, all starting at the same intersection here, so we're gonna have that little Y down there. But excuse me. Oh, look at that. I actually thought that was not going to work like that. So cool, learned something new. All right, turn on our angled tool here, which doesn't help because this is too far away. Do this instead. All right. And now we need to make ourselves a little bit more room here, so bring it back to here. So, okay, so remember I talked a little bit about why I like the parallel road tool. This is why I like the parallel road tool. Not having nodes right next to each other is just messy. And you don't have to use a parallel road tool to do it, obviously, but it definitely is a lot easier if you use if you use it. All right, look at that. Nice smooth angles without changing the overall feel of what's going on here. And now this is perfectly straight with this grid. Oh, it's a happy feeling. Okay, so let's go get rid of our guide road here. All right, there's that gone with our flying truck, huh? I think I saw this in the movie Twister. Didn't end well for him, but okay. So like I said, let's take this and flatten out just a little bit further here. I don't want to go too far because I really want to keep as much of this as possible. Let's go a little bit bigger than that. So I'm already losing more character than I really want to. I could probably get away with that right there. Then we'll smooth this out a little bit. I want to keep kind of that little feel going. Another thing I wanted to do too before I forget, I want to bring this up. Oh, I didn't mean to do it that fast. We are going to push that back down a little bit too. I want this shipwreck to kind of be featured in the lake part. So we're going to do that. And I think we'll actually change this down to 167. There we go. And that'll give a good reason for that ship to be wrecked right there. And then once we go and fix everything up, we'll throw a rock on it or something to... Whoopsie. That's terrible. Let's turn our strength down a little bit. There. Would you look at that? Okay. Because we don't want to just have this big lump in the middle, we're going to grab this. I know, I'm all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to grab this. So with this tool, in case you haven't used it, the slope terrain, if you right click on where you want the low part to be or the high part, whatever, you can start at the other parts as you can see, it's now sloping from here down to that. So it looks a little bit more natural, like something actually occurred there, not just magically happened. So my goal is that this will still be underwater, but way closer to the surface. So let's actually go do this too. And back to what we were doing. So let's get another guide road here. Turn up our parallel because we're done with that. Another guide road here. And this will not stay. It is simply just to figure out where we want our avenue to end up. For now, we're just going to use the planning roads because although I do still have $220,000, I don't want to waste it if I don't need to. This will be a pretty highly traveled corridor, so we'll leave a little extra room there. And go over one more. Okay, perfect. That puts us right here. Okay. So let's see, bring ourselves up to the 12 meter, bring ourselves up to the 10 meter range. Alright, make sure it's symmetrical, so we're going 8 to that. No, we're not. Yeah, 8 to there, and then so we need to go to 16. Okay, so if we can do it right there, that will actually work out pretty well. Do we want to... Instead of doing a highway overpass, do we want to do a highway underpass? Guys, that's a great idea. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to upgrade all of our highway here to elevated. Alright. And then we're going to take our move it. We're going to grab these nodes. In case you can't tell, I have a little bit of a stuffy node right now. Alright. We're going to do that. And then we're going to hit Control H, which will allow us to set everything to this height. Alright. And then we'll grab these here. And we'll hit Control H again and bring it back down to this height. And yeah, we're going to do this. This way, at least it looks a little bit different from the park that we have over yonder. Oh, they need workers. Okay. There we go. So we might not do a full parkour here. I'm starting to think what might work better in this particular instance. Oh, good grief. Is how bad would a roundabout be down here? That might not be bad. This 8, let's try that. Alright, just because I don't feel like fighting with these being in the way, let's go ahead and move them for now. And let's do this. We're going to go out by 8. We're going to go guidelines for a second. We're going to go out by 8, up by 8, up by 8, and in by 8. It's like, reminds me of being my age. I'm in by 8, because otherwise it's just too late. Okay. I know, that was cheesy. I'm sorry. I'm a dad. What can I say? You get dad jokes, guys. Especially since I'm not really that awake right now. Alright, so I think we talked about this before, but I'll just throw a reminder. We're throwing these guidelines in to make sure that our roundabout doesn't become a broken wheel about. Because I hate that. Alright. We'll do that. And then we'll fix all of our angles shortly. You know that. So also, I'm using precise engineering, which allows me to hold control. And that way I can set and make sure that the angle stays at 45 coming off of here, right? Because normally it'll snap to 90, but then it'll snap to 45, but not always exactly. But if you hold control, it'll only move up by fives. So, little tip there. Okay, so I think that's actually going to work perfectly for what I'm trying to do. All right, we do that. And now we simply grab our freeform road tool and we come here. We're going to go for the first thing that's under 45. At 44.9, you don't get any closer than that. Oh, look at that. It's going to be even. That's even better. Okay. All right. Excellent. Put this back on. Oh, actually, let's go and upgrade this first. Yep, upgrade this. For now, we're going to do it as a 3-lane highway. We may change that later, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. We know for a fact those two are going to be elevated. This one actually will probably end up being elevated as well. So we'll go ahead and do that now. All right, and we turn on our, we use our traffic multi-tool, network multi-tool, excuse me, and that, and that, hit enter, makes a nice slope. All right, beautiful. If you don't want to use the network multi-tool, I think I've mentioned this before, but again, I'm not positive, so I'll show you. If you use Move It, you can highlight as well, click this thing, and then go to Slope Objects, and that does exactly the same thing. The biggest difference is the network multi-tool is more reliable when you're not going in a straight line. So this is straight line enough, but it doesn't matter. But there's times where, like, if you're going down and around in a corner or something, you wouldn't want to use Move It because it just doesn't work correctly. For this particular instance, however, it works just fine. There's that, and that. Okay, groovy. Now we'll go ahead and throw our straights back on here, and we don't need the parallel tool to do that. Okay, so now we want to look at this, right? This don't look right, does it? No, it does not, because you take, let's see what it looks like with a truck there. Oh, don't need 98 of them. Alright, so that's kind of hard to see, but that doesn't provide a lot of difference, right? So what I want to do is I want to bring this highway up so that the bottom of it is at least above this, because it just really wouldn't make sense to me not to have that. So we're going to go, now I don't want to do it just here. So instead, we're going to, and now I call myself a liar because now I am going to be concerned about having those in the right place. Having the nodes in the right spot there, by the way. Okay. Alright. Select our nodes. Okay, let me go page up. I think that's there. How's that? Yeah, there we go. That's much better. Alright, and then now we can just take this one here. Now the other nice thing about Move It is with the sloping is that you can do this. So you can do multiple roads at a time. Which I haven't tried that with the network multi-tool, so I don't know if you can do it with that yet. And boom. Okay. Cool. So there we go. So now we are back to having an exit here. We will go ahead and do our roundabout setup there. to make sure that all the yield signs are where they belong and such. Alright, all our directions. Oh, geez. See, this is why we check this stuff, because we got to fix our direction. But that is not right at all. It's because I still have that parallel road tool on. Alright, there, that's getting off, and that's getting off as well. Okay. There, so now we should have... Alright, close enough. We're going to do a couple more things to that in just a second. But let's get figured out what's going on with this here. Go back to normal, because we don't need to tell it what to be anymore. Alright, so we have a thing here, a node, a thing, sorry. Alright, so that's 11, so we want to bring this to where this is about 11 away as well. And it's 20, so bring this to 9. And then now we'll bring this back by 11, right to here. Nope, not to there, right to there. And then break you, and here we go. Alright, see, now look at that. That's going to be a much gentler way in. And then what we'll do eventually is we'll set the same thing up that we have here for this roundabout. This should be interesting to see what happens to the traffic here. I am curious. I know quite a bit about how the traffic works, but I admittedly do not know everything. So, tell you what, my wife would pay to hear that. Okay. I think we can actually unpause the simulation now at least. And let things start to happen. Let's go watch our water pour in here. Haha. Watching with bated breath. What's gonna happen? And there's the flooding. Okay, but it's proceeding pretty quickly. Oh no! Oh Lord. Oh. Poor city. Alright, we're gonna use our little water mod there and reset that back to sea level. Oh, I'm such a terrible bear. Lord. It's gonna crack me up all day. And perfect. See, look at that. We have just a little bit of this sticking out. I like that. I'm happy with that. So the only thing I want to do now is add a rock there to give it a reason to have crashed. Not sure I want that rock. That rock's not quite big enough. This rock might be too big. That rock is too big, but we can move that down. Well, this looks terrible because it... Yeah. Alright, we'll have to fiddle with that. I'll fiddle with that off camera. But, okay, so now that it's not flooded anymore, our little intersection over here is working well. Let's go clean up all this extra sand that was left behind from our previous doodad. Alright. Okay. And let's grab our network multi-tool here, because this one is going to be too much of a curve for move it to handle beautifully. So, do that. Over here. Alright. And then we'll smooth that out in a second. Let's see if we can. See, you can't do multiple roads with network multi-tool. So, Learn something new. And let's turn that down a little bit and we'll smooth this bad boy. Alright. That. Alright. I can live with that. Yeah, I think that intersection actually works very well. I like that. I'm happy with that. Let's check our traffic to see what's going on. Alright, so honestly, 78% traffic. I'm pretty sure I have despawning. Yep, despawning is disabled, so we are on quote-unquote hard mode. So that's cool. Alright, we get a little bit of traffic here, but nothing that makes me unhappy. We had talked about possibly cutting a road through here, but I don't think I want to do that. Boy, what do I want to do? So we could do the cheater method, which I'm not going to do, but we could run a road out here and tunnel it down and then bring it over to here. But I'm just not a fan of using tunnels where they don't make sense. You know, if it makes sense, then by all means, go ahead, tunnel away. But it just doesn't really make a lot of sense there. So we're not going to do it. We do need more residential though, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and fill all this in with residential. These are not going to have the high density. So we're going to go ahead and fill all those in right there, get some people moving in. Our commercial demand isn't that high, so we're not going to worry too much about that. All right. You know what else we haven't checked in a while? Let's check our fire map. Ha ha ha. See? You guys are supposed to remind me to do this stuff. All right. Let's plop. Since this is going to become a larger area, we're going to go ahead and plop a fire station. You know what? I think what we're going to do. Let's do this. Let's build ourselves a thing. You know, a thing. All right. Is that really a node right there? No, okay. Phew. I thought there was another node right here. It was doing me a great concern. So we're going to build. We're going to plan for the future. We're going to build this here right now because at some point we are going to want to put a helicopter, uh, a fire department helicopter in there. I cannot deal with this right here. If I could change anything about City Skylines, okay, there would be a lot of stuff, but that would definitely be one of them is to have, oh, look at that, to have this not happen. And like, I know that there's a mod that you can get that makes it not happen, but oh my good grief, does that frustrate the living bejeepers out of me. Alright, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cheat a little bit and do this, okay? And then we're going to turn off the zoning for this part of the road, and then I don't have to look at it. Okay. I know it shouldn't bother me, but it does. Alright, so we want to do a one-way street here. I think I'm going to go with the one with the trees, because it's pretty. Alright, make sure I actually do want to switch this, though, and have it go that way. Alright, and then we're actually going to go ahead and remove, lost my mouse cursor. We're going to go ahead and remove our traffic signals from here and from here. And this we're going to turn into a yield sign. And this we're going to turn into a yield sign. And this we're going to turn into a yield sign. There. Now we can go ahead and we can throw in, that's only 5. We can throw in our big old fire department here. We'll set it back off the road, just one, off the main road, just one little notch there. Alright, so that will take care of a lot of that. So this by the way is why I have tree fires turned off. There's nothing I can do to reduce the fire hazards over here until I unlock this. So why do I want to deal with that? I don't. Alright, there. So this, by the way, also the range on this is being controlled by my budget, right? Remember, if you remember what we talked about having the auto budget, auto budget keeps this pretty low because it's still good coverage. Like even though it doesn't look like it, it's still look. It keeps us right in the middle. I mean, it's not exactly where I'd like to be, but this is also adding in all the trees and everything. So once we have that unlocked, it'll make a big difference. But now, look at this. So we just built a bunch of residential, and now they want even more residential, which is good because that means people are satisfied with the city and want to move in. So can't for the life of me understand why this isn't filling in up here. Probably because they don't like those stupid cracks of the zoning either. All right, let's do this. Let's just rezone it. Maybe that'll get people in. I don't really know. I've never seen that happen before. Like I've zoned things in the middle of nowhere with no access from any place. Huh. That is perhaps one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen in this game. But I'm not going to worry about it right this second. So, what did I want to check? Crime. Okay. See, that's what's funny. So with fire departments, we need one here, we need one over here, but we have one little teeny tiny police department here, and that somehow is enough to service. Oh, we have one over there too. I'm sorry, and that's enough to service the entire area. All right. Let's take a quick look through our policies, make sure we have everything set that we want set. I'm going to turn on preferred parks. City planning, we're good there. Nothing else I want on. Filter industrial waste because I do want to keep it as clean as I can. Okay. All right. So I think, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. We have our our polluting recycling center here. I wish that wasn't a thing, but it is. Let's go and actually make this area just look a little bit better. Grab some trees, copy them, make a little tree brush. All right. I do think that this is a thing that would happen. All right, we'll do that. There. All right, so let's see if we can now find a vehicle on its way in. There we go. I'm gonna take this guy, this electric car Edison model. All right, do that, and we're gonna take a ride into the city. All right, enjoy your ride. Thanks for so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. I hope you guys are getting at least some enjoyment out of these videos. I get a lot of enjoyment out of making them. Uh, so if you like the video, please go ahead and like it. If you didn't, let me know what I can do to make it better. Hopefully my mic sounds a little bit louder this time. I did adjust that after some feedback from the last episode. Uh, Also, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that. It's really just a nice way to help me continue to grow and share the video. That'd be great. Other than that, thanks for all for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week with episode 8. Enjoy your ride.